D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds, and welcome to my year in review, where I come to you once a year at the end of the year and I explain to you some of the hotter stories that happened this year and more newsworthy stories, and then we discuss them down below. So without further ado, these are the stories of the year that I found the most interesting, and let's get started. So we've got the college admission scandal, and now they're rolling the dice, and on April 15th, Lori Loughlin and her husband, Massimo Giuliani, I don't know how to say his last name, pleaded not guilty to 2 conspiracy charges in a college admissions cheating scandal. Now, prosecutors allege that the Full House actress and the designer, who were soon also hit with conspiracy to launder bribes charges, paid $500,000, that's so much money, to get their 2 daughters into the University of Southern California and falsely designated them as crew team recruits. Now, Lori and her husband claimed they were under the impression they might be breaking rules, but not laws. And they feel they were manipulated by those involved and are planning that as a part of their defense. Now, they realize how serious the charges are, but feel that once the judge hears their story, he will see they had no bad intentions. Now, experts aren't so sure, and neither were brands affiliated with the family. The Hallmark Channel cut ties with Lori Loughlin, and she didn't return to Fuller House on Netflix. And several beauty brands stopped working with her social media influencer daughter, Olivia Jade. Now, Lori and Massimo's troubles only got worse as the year went on. On October 22nd, they were also charged with federal program bribery, which carries a 5-year prison sentence, and they pleaded not guilty. But Lori wasn't the only Hollywood star implicated in this scandal. Now, Felicity Huffman took a different approach after she was named in the college admissions cheating scam in the spring. Now, on May 13th, the Desperate Housewives alum pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit mail fraud and honest services mail fraud, admitting her part in the scheme to boost her daughter's SAT scores to help her get into a good college. Now, Felicity, who broke down in tears as she apologized in court, said that her child, who has a learning disability, didn't know the actress paid $15,000 to a middleman to have a shady proctor correct her test answers. Now, prosecutors recommended that the actress pay a $20,000 fine and be given 4 months in jail. But in September, a judge sentenced Felicity to just 14 days in prison. That's all she got, and a $30,000 fine and community service. She said, "I inflicted more damage than I could have ever imagined," Felicity told the judge before her sentencing. And she also said, "I take full responsibility for my actions. I am prepared to accept whatever sentence you deem fit." Felicity's husband, William H. Macy, was not indicted. I'm surprised, because how could he not know? And on October 15th, the actress turned herself in to begin serving her sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution near Oakland, California. And she was released on October 25th. She did some real hard time, you know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, and everything. So that's my first story. So for my second story, we're going to talk about Avengers Endgame. And this year, the Titanic just ran into another iceberg, also known as the MCU. That's right. For 22 years, which fascinatingly may be showing that it's fate, the exact number of movies that the MCU has had to date. I mean, it's not fate, but it does play nicely into the Hollywood mythology that we're trying to build right here. But it took 22 years and Marvel 22 movies to top James Cameron, where in the past no one could do so but James Cameron. It's an amazing accomplishment. The only place Cameron has an edge is in the Oscars. Now, James Cameron was already a Hollywood legend by the time he made Titanic, in fact, switching lanes from hardcore sci-fi action to hardcore romance. I mean, and to be fair, hardcore historical action. He's as big a genius as the Russo brothers when it comes to constructing films, but the Russo brothers don't quite operate at the same level because they don't factor in the industry aspect of things like James Cameron does with his films. For instance, where they were both more Oscar friendly. Now, as for the Russo brothers, who were they before they were found by Kevin Feige? They had only made a handful of short, quirky, and quaint, kind of frankly unsuccessful movies. But their secret weapon was the same as Feige, and he himself has only made comic book movies, to be fair. And I think also that's one of the reasons that the MCU doesn't get any respect. It's getting harder and harder to ignore it, though. Even now, for old school Hollywood, when you look at all of their accomplishments, it's just hard to ignore. But anyway, both of them are fans of comics in the MCU, and they do sample their own product. And it's because of that they can cook up the most potent, fan-pleasing films that Hollywood has ever seen at the box office to go along with it. And I don't want to undercut James Cameron's accomplishments, though. I think he does finally have, let's say, peers, which in itself, it's very interesting. But I think it truly is a fantastic that this film, a comic book film, by the way, is now the largest grossing movie of all time. And speaking of largest grossing movies of all time, this year Joker constantly continued to perform like the cultural phenomenon it was. Sure, the film still has naysayers, and probably still always will, but probably just because it's a DC movie. But Joker and Warner Brothers have certainly built a counter-argument, which they did for the award season. Now, this year, Ryan Reynolds offered up a social media congrats to the Joker, which is the industry practice when someone surpasses your movie at the box office, you tweet out congratulations. But yes, Joker unseated Deadpool as the highest R-rated grossing movie of all time worldwide. Domestically, Todd Phillips just unseated himself to take 9th place, and that was with The Hangover. Now, the film could have done better if it had hit China, but it didn't. Why? Because it taps into the rage that's gripping the globe right now. I think that this movie taps into what's happening with society, which is very amazing. I did a review for this movie, and you can check that out here. And strikingly, Joker has become a figure in protests across the globe, and China is, of course, at the heart of those protests. Certainly, it doesn't want to give the platform to Who's the New Guy Fawkes, which is an incredible achievement, and I hope that Warner Brothers is taking note that this is having their film embraced by real-life protesters, because I think that it would make a very strong push for a sequel, and I think that this movie not only has a global appeal, but it really does address serious matters and speaks to the disenfranchised as Todd Phillips intended. Now, moving on to things that have ended. Game of Thrones ended this year with its Season 8. Now, it's been very divisive on this season, and it's got a lot of fans angry, but Season 8 was the lowest rated season of the series with a 58% by critics and a 32% by audiences, according to Rotten Tomatoes. It had the lowest rated episodes of the series, and there was only one other rotten episode of the series, and that was Season 5, Episode 6. Now, I cover Game of Thrones pretty extensively, and you can check all of those videos out with a link in the description down below. I'll try to leave some here also. And yeah, I didn't like it, so yeah, you can just check all those out. So, even though Game of Thrones ended, and plenty of things have, some things got started. And that's right, Disney Plus launched on November 12th, 2019, an American subscription video-on-demand streaming service owned and operated by the direct-to-consumer and international division of the Walt Disney Company. Now, the service primarily distributes films and television series produced by the Walt Disney Studios and Walt Disney Television, with a service advertising content from Disney's Marvel, National Geographic, Pixar, and Star Wars brands in particular. And original films and television series are also distributed on Disney+. Now, if you don't have Disney+, I suggest you go out and get it just for The Mandalorian. It's great. I love that show. Plus, not to mention all of the old school TV shows that they show on there that I used to watch when I was a kid, and I love showing my kids. But you can go ahead and sign up for that. They have a bundle deal with Hulu and ESPN Plus. And then you can also just get Disney Plus like I got. So tell me, how did you guys feel about 2019? How do you feel about these stories that I've shared? Was there any stories that I missed? Go ahead and leave all that stuff in those comments section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it. I will see you guys next year in my year in review. You guys have a wonderful year. Bye.